You left an old t-shirt draped over the back of the chair. Nothing special about it. Worn, faded, probably due for the donation pile. You forgot it was even there. And then, an hour later, you walk into the living room and find your dog curled around it in the corner of the room like it is the most precious object in the house. Not chewing it, not destroying it, just lying on top of it with their chin pressed into the fabric, eyes half closed, completely at peace. And your first instinct is probably to be annoyed, because this is your stuff, and they know better. So you walk over, pull it out from under them, tell them no, and toss it somewhere out of reach. And then you move on with your day, assuming you just corrected a bad habit. But here is what actually just happened. You walked over to your dog while they were in their calmest, most regulated state of the entire day. You removed the one thing in the house that was helping them feel safe, and you did it because you misread what the behavior was. Today I want to completely reframe how you see your dog taking your things, because what looks like theft is actually 3 completely different psychological programs running in your dog's brain. And if you respond to all 3 of them the same way, you are not just misunderstanding your dog. You are actively working against the bond between you. Let me start with the shirt. In 2015, researchers at Emory University conducted a study using functional MRI brain scanning on 12 dogs. They presented each dog with 5 distinct scents. Their own scent, the scent of a familiar dog, the scent of an unfamiliar dog, the scent of an unfamiliar human, and the scent of a familiar human, their specific owner. And then they measured which scent produced the strongest activation in the caudate nucleus, the region of the brain associated with reward, anticipation, and positive emotional experience. The result was not food. The result was not another dog. The result was you. Your scent activated your dog's reward center more powerfully than anything else the researchers tested. More than treats, more than other dogs, more than any other stimulus they presented. Your scent is the most neurologically significant thing your dog can encounter. And here is what that means for the shirt. When your dog curls up on a piece of your clothing, they are not engaging in a minor act of disobedience. From a neurological standpoint, they are accessing the most concentrated source of comfort available to them in your absence. Your scent does not just smell good to them. Your scent triggers their reward system. It reduces their cortisol levels. It slows their heart rate. It decreases restless and anxious behavior. The shirt is not fabric to them. The shirt is a neurochemical dose of the person they are most bonded to. And when you are not home, when the house is quiet and they cannot find you anywhere, the shirt is the closest thing available to the real thing. This behavior has a clinical name in animal cognition research. It is called low arousal comfort seeking. It is a self-soothing behavior. It is adaptive. It is healthy. And it is one of the most direct expressions of how deeply your dog is attached to you specifically. The dog lying on your shirt is not stealing from you. The dog lying on your shirt is missing you and doing something about it. Now let me separate this behavior from something that looks similar on the surface but is driven by completely different psychology. Because there is another category of taking your things behavior that has nothing to do with scent comfort at all. You have probably seen this version too. Your dog walks into the room, picks up the TV remote with complete deliberateness, and then just stands there. Not running away, not hiding under the bed, just standing in the middle of the room, holding the remote, making direct eye contact with you. Waiting, and you react exactly the way they predicted you would. You sit up. You say their name in that specific tone of voice. You get up and move toward them. And at that point, one of 2 things happens. Either they bolt, leading you on a lap around the coffee table, or they drop at the moment you get close enough to grab it and then look at you like they want to do it again. From your perspective, this is aggravating. From your dog's perspective, this is the best game in the house. What you are watching is not theft. What you are watching is a social play behavior that researchers have documented extensively in canines. It has a name too. It is called keep away, and it is a completely natural, genetically embedded form of social play that dogs use with each other in the wild. The object has no value to them. The remote means nothing. What has value is your reaction, the jump in your energy, the change in your voice, the sudden movement toward them. That reaction is the reward, and here is the part that makes this behavior almost impossible to extinguish once it is established. Your responses to it are probably inconsistent. Sometimes you chase them, sometimes you ignore them. Sometimes you offer a treat to get the object back. Sometimes you grab it and say nothing. That inconsistency is not helping you. It is creating something that behavioral scientists call a variable reinforcement schedule. And a variable reinforcement schedule is the most powerful reward structure known to produce persistent, nearly unkillable behavior. It is the same mechanism that makes slot machines addictive. When the reward is unpredictable, the behavior escalates rather than diminishing. Your dog has accidentally trained you to make the remote stealing game more exciting every time you respond inconsistently. And there is a third category, the destructive one. The chewed couch cushion, the demolished throw pillow, the shoe that is now in 3 separate pieces. And this one is driven by something different again. This is not comfort seeking. This is not social play. This is a nervous system, looking for relief from chronic understimulation. When dogs do not receive adequate mental engagement, adequate physical activity, adequate opportunities to use the cognitive and sensory systems they were built to use, their brain chemistry shifts in ways that closely resemble the anxiety and restlessness that humans experience under conditions of boredom and stress. And the chewing behavior that follows is not random. Chewing releases endorphins. It provides proprioceptive feedback that is genuinely calming to the nervous system. It is self-medication for a system that has nothing else to do. The dog destroying your belongings is not being malicious. The dog destroying your belongings is desperately understimulated and has found the only relief mechanism available to them in that moment. Now I want to go deeper into the genetics of why these behaviors are so strong in certain dogs. Because if you have a retriever, a spaniel, or any dog bred for work that involves carrying objects, you have probably noticed that your dog seems almost compelled to have something in their mouth. That is not coincidence. That is 10 generations of intentional selection. The grab and carry impulse was deliberately amplified in retrieving breeds over centuries of breeding. Dogs that picked up game and carried it gently were selected for. Dogs that dropped it or refused were not. What you are seeing when your golden retriever parades around the living room with your shoe held carefully in their mouth, looking up at you with enormous pride, is not disobedience. That is a job behavior that has been coded into the breed's working instinct over hundreds of years. It has nowhere else to go in a modern house, so it goes into your shoe. Understanding this does not mean you allow it, but it completely changes how you respond to it, because you are not dealing with a dog that is choosing to defy you. You are dealing with a dog that has a powerful genetic drive with no appropriate outlet. That is a management problem, not a character flaw. So let me give you the specific protocols for each of the 3 behaviors, starting with the scent comfort behavior. If your dog is taking your old clothing and carrying it to their bed or their favorite corner, the evidence-based response is to redirect rather than punish. You can designate specific worn items as belonging to your dog. An old t-shirt that you have worn and are done with. A pillowcase you have slept on. Something that carries your scent but that you have no use for. Give it to them deliberately. Put it in their bed yourself. You are not rewarding bad behavior by doing this. You are meeting a legitimate neurological need through an appropriate channel. The comfort seeking is healthy. The only question is which item they are using for it. For the keep-away game, the protocol is about removing the reward. The reward is your reaction. So the response is a calm, consistent, completely unremarkable retrieval of the object. No chase, no elevated voice, no sudden movements. You walk to them at a normal pace, say the word you are going to use for drop, and offer a high-value trade. The trade is critical. A 2019 study surveying over 3,500 dog owners found that using physical force to remove objects from a dog's mouth significantly increases resource guarding behavior over time. The dog learns that having something in their mouth predicts conflict, so they protect it harder. The trade protocol teaches the opposite lesson. Giving something up always leads to something good. Practice this with objects that have no stakes first. A toy they like but do not love. Ask for the drop. Offer the trade. Reward heavily. Build the history of giving things up, leading to good outcomes. By the time you need to retrieve the remote or your phone, the behavior of dropping on cue is already established and rewarded. For the destructive behavior, the protocol is about load management. You need to honestly assess whether your dog is getting enough of three things: physical exercise, calibrated to their breed and age; mental engagement through problem-solving, scent work, or training sessions; and appropriate chewing outlets that give them the endorphin release and sensory satisfaction of chewing without the cost of your belongings. Rotating the toys they have access to helps significantly. A toy that has been out of rotation for 3 weeks feels novel again when it reappears. Novelty increases engagement. Engagement reduces the desperate boredom that drives destructive behavior. And if you are dealing with a working breed with a strong grab-and-carry instinct, give them a job. Teach them to bring you specific items by name. Teach them to carry something on walks. Give the impulse somewhere legitimate to go, and you will find it stops redirecting onto your belongings. Let me bring this back to the full picture. Your dog taking your things is not a single behavior with a single cause. It is 3 distinct behaviors driven by 3 distinct psychological and neurological systems. Scent comfort-seeking, driven by attachment and the reward response to your specific smell. Social play behavior driven by the keep-away instinct and amplified by inconsistent responses. And destructive behavior driven by understimulation and the endorphin release of chewing. Responding to all 3 the same way is like treating 3 completely different medical conditions with the same medication because the symptoms look similar from across the room. You need to identify which one you are actually dealing with before you respond. The dog curled around your shirt in the corner needs your compassion. They are managing their own anxiety in the most adaptive way available to them. The dog standing in the middle of the room holding your remote and making eye contact needs your consistency. They are playing a game that your reactions have made irresistible. And the dog that turned your throw pillow into a pile of fluff needs your honest assessment of whether you are meeting their actual needs. They are not being destructive. They are sending you information. The next time you come home and find your worn-out hoodie dragged into your dog's bed, I want you to pause before you reach for it. Look at your dog lying on top of it. Look at how relaxed their body is. Look at where their nose is pointed. Into the fabric, into your scent, into the closest thing they could find to you while you were gone. That is not a dog who is being bad. That is a dog who is dealing with missing you in the most neurologically sophisticated way available to them. And the Emory University brain scanner would light up looking at that dog's caudate nucleus and show you exactly what you mean to them. If this completely changed how you see your dog the next time they take something that is yours, hit subscribe and leave a comment below telling me the strangest or most specific thing your dog has ever taken. I've read every single one, and the next video is going to challenge something else you probably take for granted about how you care for your dog. The daily walk that you think is giving them everything they need. The science of what your dog actually experiences on a standard leash walk is going to change how you approach every single one from this point forward. See you there.